I never played a tabletop RPG before. Well, I'm actually lying. I have. To be more specific, I've played only 2 sessions in my entire life, both with people I could barely relate to. Both groups invited me to join a session and see how I would feel about it. They even took a day out of their week just to teach me the basics before I joined their adventure. Despite all of the support and their kindness in teaching me the game, it felt weird. I didn't know them well enough to feel comfortable playing. Both groups were already advanced in their campaigns, and dropping in the middle of something big wasn't pleasant or interesting at first. Also, considering that I'm not a social person, my experience was hindered even further. I know you don't know me just yet, and starting the video by lying and deceiving isn't the most welcoming choice on my behalf. I confess I just failed my charisma check, and for that, I apologize. But let's start this again, shall we? First things first, let me introduce myself. Hi. My name's Jules. Join me on this journey as I venture alongside my clan to uncover many secrets of this mesmerizing adventure that took the gaming community by storm, breaking outstanding records that even surprised the devs from Larian Studios itself. A feature-complete game overflowing with passion and dedication in every line of dialogue. Get comfortable as I tell you the story of how Baldur's Gate 3 made me adore RPGs. It was never on my plans to buy Baldur's Gate, especially because here in Brazil games are really overpriced, so I really have to be quite meticulous when it comes choosing which games to buy, especially when I'm not sure about it. Baldur's Gate has many red flags for me related to my personal tastes in video games, starting with dialogue that allow you to choose many options that usually don't change the outcome drastically, a fantastical adventure with a medieval setting, of course, many RPG mechanics as well, which I didn't have many pleasant experiences with, and many more. I could just state many more features that are simply not my cup of tea, but there was something that still caught my attention, something that I once let slip. When Elden Ring was released, it also took the gaming community by storm, setting amazing launch numbers that continue to impress even today. I myself watched a couple streamers' first few minutes playing the game, but it never tempted me enough to have the urge to play, especially because I had never played a Souls game before, and yes, this time is not a lie. But don't worry, I'll be playing Elden Ring soon enough and I will make a video talking about it. But that topic is for another video. This game triggered something really interesting, something that yet brings joy to my heart. It brought my dad's love for games back to life. For me, that's especially meaningful since my dad and I used to play for countless hours, often neglecting our sleep schedules to savor those moments to the fullest. Those are some of my favorite memories. If it weren't for my dad, I would have never experienced gaming at all. Witnessing his passion reignited once again made me truly appreciate the magic behind Elden Ring. A magic that I just realized weeks later, and yet I still didn't buy the game because I was saving money for something else at the time. But what does Baldur's Gate have to do with all of this? The launch of Baldur's Gate gave me the same feeling that Elden Ring gave me back in the day, but this time I was ready. I could buy the game and experience for myself, yet it still felt like a leap of faith. Purchasing a game that doesn't align with my usual preferences is essentially shooting myself in the foot. However, at the same time, this gut feeling kept me both anxious and excited to give it a try. After a long day at work, I returned home, sat down in my chair, and stared at the screen while thinking, am I sure about this? Well, I can play for 2 hours before deciding, yeah, I can do that. And so that's exactly what I did. Let me tell you, those initial 2 hours flew by so quickly that they turned into 20 hours over just 2 days. I had and still have so much fun with this game to the point that I've reset my playthroughs multiple times to explore completely different paths. The vast campaign options that branch into entirely different directions leave me in awe. I never knew how massive this game would be, and I don't think I ever seen something quite like it before.
Sound good?
You want to just team up with some blood-stained killer? Because I'm fine with that.
But what is the magic this time that put this game beyond the other releases that we had this past month? Well, Baldur's Gate is made by people that not only play their own games, but also love and understand the customer because they are also customers. Just to further prove my point, look at the CEO of the company. He is in full armor. Does your boss dress like that at work?
I know you want to make the perfect game, but this is not the way! This is the way! Behold, the secret sauce of Dungeons and Dragons!
You see this being a common thing in gaming industry. No, they prioritize fun and passion beyond anything, and you can see already at release how glaring those things are. Here in Brazil, a full-price game is typically released at 250 reais, which is quite expensive given our average wage. However, Baldur's Gate was released at 200 reais, which baffles me considering the immense amount of content this game offers. Just to give you a scope of the parameters of this statement, after playing for 30 hours, I've only managed to get through the first area of the game. In the case of other games, that would have already been more than one playthrough, so it's already proven to be well worth the investment. Another point that is hard to believe, even for myself, is that Baldur's Gate is a feature-complete game, something I haven't heard in a while.
Feature-complete game of this caliber.
Isn't it so weird to hear that word? Like every time that I hear feature-complete, it's like unlocking a core memory that is from like 2001.
There's a lot to praise about this game, and I could spend all day gushing over its amazing details. However, there are some things that I want to talk about, especially since this is my first RPG game. Many of you who are fans of the genre might consider these things trivial, but for me, they have left a strong impression, to the point where I am now eager to play other games of the same genre. I want to explore what RPGs had to offer and give them another chance, this time with my heart completely opened.
My friend, every story benefits from a dragon. Until we meet again.
Lore is something that always intrigues me. It's one of my favorite parts of any game, but usually when it comes to more fantastical medieval type of lore, it would never caught my attention enough. The presentation was not bad, but it never triggers the excitement of wanting to know where the adventure will lead. And that made me a little skeptical from the start about how I would enjoy the story, since this purchase was a shot in the dark, putting up the game with a wave of anxiety off my chest that was quickly calmed down by this.
Hello, darling. Don't be shy. I promise not to bite until we've been formally introduced. My name's Astarion, and I've spent a century stalking the night, hunting for pretty morsels just like you. A man called Cazador made me what I am, kept me like a pet, forced me to do his bidding. No more. The Tadpole's influence broke his dominance over me, and now I can finally pursue the one thing I've hungered for these long, dark years. Revenge. I'm going back to Baldur's Gate to track Cazador down in his lair. I'll be the last thing the bastard ever sees.
The voice acting in this game is beyond phenomenal. You can watch these short presentations of the characters that you encounter throughout your journey, which already adds so much to the story. I wanted to know each and every one of the characters right from the start, and that's exactly what I did. I ventured into every little corner of the map, uncovering its secrets and completing its challenges, all to be rewarded with those amazing moments.
Indeed. How regrettable that your meat must go unsavored. Food? Food. Not food. Friend.
Each character here is memorable. They are so exquisitely well crafted, and I cannot show all the best moments of each one because they are almost endless. Everyone has so much charisma in their own way, even if they don't agree with most of your decisions. Still, you want to know more about them. Every character has a really deep background that you will be uncovering as you progress throughout the game, and the snippets that they show you keep you engaging with all the cast. The writing in this game is so top-notch that a unique presentation is enough for the character to become memorable. You will remember their names and their motives in the first few lines of dialogue. My favorite characters being almost everyone, but the highlights go to Karlach, the Zariel Tiefling, a powerful demon powered by a hell engine which became her heart, that fuels the flames of her body, giving her a combustion of strength. Hearing that, you think she is a powerful beast, but is totally the opposite. Of course, she is definitely pretty strong, but look at that.
I adore you, you know. I love you too! Oh my god! I've been dying to say that.
I fell in love with the way she is presented and how unique her storyline is. I always love to chat with everyone to see where they're thinking, but I especially adore talking to her just to enjoy her amazing charisma.
Though, you know, if you wanted to meet up later, maybe we could meet up later. Really? I mean, great.
Before diving into the campaign, of course, we need a character. Here, you can choose one of the pre-made characters, or the option that many people choose the most, creating your own character. Let me say that it was impressive to see the multitude of possibilities regarding your class. There are so many variations of each class from the start that it can be a little overwhelming, but trust me, you will quickly get the hang of it. Just take your time to read all the aspects of each class and don't worry about choosing the right one, because there is nothing quite like that. To truly enjoy not only Baldur's Gate, but any game, you need to allow yourself to immerse in the journey. A YouTuber that I love to watch, Josh Strife Hayes, makes an amazing point about how efficiency kills the fun of a game. Of course, you can have fun being efficient, but here, allowing yourself to explore the mechanics and be impressed by some random elements is the way to have fun.
But every night before we logged off, we'd meet up and go kill a boss for an hour or two. It wasn't great money, because there were so many of us the loot split was awful, but we had the best time together.
When was the last time you did something in an MMO that wasn't efficient? What was it? I mean, as silly as that sounds, I used to genuinely have this idea of, it was beautiful. I would get home from school, we had this Skype chat going for like 2 years, it never even closed. There were so many people in the Skype chat, it never hung up. It would get so laggy, but we would keep trying to do it. When was the last time you logged onto a game, did something, and you knew that it wasn't efficient? Because, as they said, the creator of SimCity once said, given enough opportunity, a player will optimize the fun out of a game.
I can exemplify this with the first time I played Baldur's Gate with my best friend. I have to say it was the most enjoyable experience I had in years. We at first decided to just start a normal campaign. We were not aiming to deviate too much from what we already did in our solo playthroughs. This time, I decided to make a character that looks like the Predator, and I would try to make it as close as I could to the original character, and it was a really fun idea. It was a totally different playstyle compared to what I really enjoy, but as we were playing and just experimenting around with new classes and skills, we decided to test things. I took the long jump skill that allows me to jump really far away, and with that we discovered a new way to bypass a trap after opening the sarcophagus in the temple.
I wonder what the next move is. Onward.
Or even more funny is how you make a character that is basically Predator but always chooses the most charismatic and reasonable approves during dialogues.
Hello, I'm Gale of Waterdeep. Apologies, I'm usually better at this. A bit shocked, but friend, it's a relief and a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
We were having a blast. Even though we had already played through those missions, we still managed to find new ways to approach the same situations. However, at some point, we began following essentially the same path as our solo campaigns. Upon arriving at the grove, where we met Zephalor and the druids, there was an idol that a child tried to steal, but they were caught and near killed by the hands of a druid named Cog, or Cog, or something like that, because I don't know how to pronounce it. I must confess that during my first playthrough, I detested her and wished to eliminate her, but this time, with the spirit of experimentation in mind, I suggest to my friend, hey, what if we stole the idol and kicked her ass afterwards? Well, that's exactly what we did. But we were taken aback by the outcome. Stealing the idol prompted the druids to unleash a brutal assault on the tieflings in the area, even the children. Not only was this despicable in-game, but there was also a fully fleshed out cutscene illustrating the druids' brutality. My friend and I were immediately bewildered yet intrigued. Instead of loading a save, we embraced the chaos and initiated a campaign to exterminate all the druids, hoping to save at least some of the remaining tieflings. Our playthrough shifted to something so different and mesmerizing that made me realize that this game, even after hundreds of hours, will still have something up his sleeve to throw at me. Back in the college, there was this colleague of mine who used to play tabletop RPGs from time to time. He would often share his stories with us. However, there's one day that I can't forget when he told me about playing a session where, as a way to damage the boss, which was a dragon, he decided to tactically throw his shoe at the dragon's eyes. As nonsensical as this sounds, he managed to achieve a critical success after rolling the dice, damaging the dragon and saving his team from it. That story was incredibly wild to me, yet at the same time I was amazed by the level of freedom this game had to offer. After playing Baldur's Gate, my brain decided to bring this memory back to life, and I found myself thinking, can I throw my shoe at someone? Oh god, I actually can. When a game offers so much freedom, it sparks the player curiosity to try different things and explore the mechanics to their fullest. It's like a game within a game, a chess match between the player and the developers. The devs constantly anticipate what players might think ahead, preparing for various outcomes. Take the shoe throw for example. My curiosity was piqued by a story, which led me to a question. I apply a theory, and in practice, it worked because the developers already foresaw that I would ask this question before I even have the insight. This back and forth interaction is what makes this game so special to me. It has also led me to ponder other possibilities, even when I'm not actively playing, because I'm curious to see the extent to which the developers have pushed boundaries. If at this point you are still not convinced of how insane this game is, there is an unquestionable feature that will make you want to buy this game right now. This is why Baldur's Gate 3 is so well acclaimed. It surpasses all game expectations and broke records within the first few days. You can pet the dog, and everyone will approve of this. Do I need to say something else? No? Are we done here? That's what I thought. This game is about the journey, not the destination. As cliche as it sounds, it's the truth. This game is also a reminder of what fun used to be and still is. Why are games not so fun anymore? Perhaps it's because as we grew up, we became so accustomed to a life filled with urgencies that we often forgot to pause, take a break, and appreciate the view. Instead of being lost in thoughts about the tasks that we need to complete during the day, we should be able to admire the scenery while driving to work. We've become so accustomed to automatic actions that when we are presented with a chance of pause, our brains struggle to comprehend it. So, take the time to enjoy this game, explore, give yourself moments to sit down and come up with the most absurd ideas to try in Baldur's Gate. Utilize the mechanics, experiment with as many classes as possible. This game emerged after many years in development, almost as an event within the gaming community, something that sadly doesn't happen too often. Baldur's Gate is a game that truly understands the essence of fun and embodies the concept of having a good time, relishing the lack of urgency to rush through the game. Instead, you are drawn to savor the journey. Regardless of whether you reach the end or not, the game offers a multitude of compelling features. Completing it is just one of them. But finishing it isn't a prerequisite to have a fantastic time. I believe games like this should be appreciated and acclaimed. As players and customers, we can send a message to major gaming companies that fun can be as profitable, if not more so, than hastily made cash grab titles. While business is business, it doesn't justify delivering a half-baked games riddled with patches throughout the year, especially if the project gets abandoned midway. The gaming industry has become a business driven by money and greed. Lacking the soul and passion it once had, Baldur's Gate stands as a testament that passion for gaming and respect for customers form a sustainable business model. It showcases the value of allowing dedicated developers ample time to craft an extraordinary experience within a reasonable time frame. We aren't demanding massive games like Baldur's Gate. We are asking for respect, transparency, reasonable pricing, and the rejection of greed as a foundation for game creation. Greed is not and never will be the right way to do it.
I follow two masters only: gluttony and greed. The goblins understand my appetites. They sate my hunger for gold.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching the entire video. It truly brightens my day. I've been diving into Baldur's Gate a lot lately, and I wanted to take a moment to discuss it. Are any of you also playing the game? How are you finding the experience so far? Let's extend this conversation further into the comment section, always with respect. If you'd like to support the growth of this channel, really appreciate a like if you are enjoying the content, of course. Additionally, consider sharing the video with a friend, helping me spread my passion for gaming to more people. So that's it for now. I hope each one of you has an amazing day. Stay awesome, stay hydrated, and don't forget.
This